And then we get to Microsoft. And Microsoft, wow. Fucking wow. This is the worst. Microsoft's conference was probably the worst piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. Microsoft pretty much announced at E3 that everything you can possibly want to do with your Xbox 360, other than what everyone actually wants to do with it, and that's play games. They showed Halo 4, big surprise. Fuck, isn't everyone sick of Halo by now? Halo 3, Halo ODST, Halo Reach, Halo Wars, Halo 1 and 2 before that, now Halo 4. And not only are we getting a Halo 4, but they're starting a whole new trilogy, so Halo 5 and 6 are guaranteed, and probably more DLC and more maps and more expansions for those games are guaranteed as well. I don't say this often, I really don't. I don't engage in hyperbole too much. And, well, by too much I mean not at all, but seriously. I'm serious when I say this. Halo is the most overrated game series of all time. Of all time. Ever. Halo was kind of cool back in 2001 when one of my friends from high school had an Xbox where we all had PlayStation 2s and GameCubes. So we used to, you know, have stayovers at his house, play Halo split screen, play Dead or Alive 3, good times like that. It was cool back then. This was back in like 2002. But it's just, it's the same game over and over again. The same game, the same shit. You're going to hear me say that a lot throughout these notes, because it's true. I looked like it, and they pretty much ripped off the heads-up display of Metroid Prime. I read somewhere online that they 343 Industries, who's making this game, got a couple of the level designers from Metroid Prime, which would kind of explain it, like the map design and the HUD and everything. But you know, it looks like the same game over and over again. I'll play it. I sure as hell won't buy it until it goes on sale, but I'm tired of it. Again, to Microsoft, make something new. But they fucking won't, because people go out and buy Halo and Gears of War and Call of Duty for their Xbox over and over and over and over again. And God forbid something interesting, an interesting little game comes out, and no one pays attention to it. It's sad. Then the next thing they showed is, oh God, Splinter Cell Blacklist. I kind of have mixed feelings about it. The first 3 Splinter Cell games were cool, especially the multiplayer in Pandora Tomorrow. Me and my friends had fun with that. As far as Blacklist goes, it looked nothing like Splinter Cell at all. They were doing an onstage demo of it, and they were talking about how all the cool like stealth elements go together and stuff. Then like 5 seconds later, the guy takes Sam Fisher, runs out into this open space, and kills like 6 or 7 people. It looks more like Sam Fisher was dropped in the middle of a Call of Duty game. That's what it looks like. You know. Oh, plus it'll have Kinect voice features, so you'll hear, you know, people screaming "Eat it, towel heads" at their Kinect, which is all we need. Then they announced Madden 2013 and FIFA 2013. They'll have voice recognition with the Kinect, because everything in the world is better with Kinect now. Joe Montana came out, played a horrible looking demo of Madden 2013 with the voice recognition, and the funniest thing about it was you can actually call and say "hike" to the Kinect and it will start the play. And Joe Montana like debuted this. He like demoed this on the stage, and he would say "hike," and then the play would start. That's how long it took between the voice recognition and the play, so that's gonna work out beautifully. And of course we'll have frat boys and dude bros all yelling at their TVs going, "Blue 42 set, hut, hut, hut." Great. Because the only thing more obnoxious than watching someone play Madden every single year is yelling at their screen while playing Madden. Oh my God. just gets worse and worse. Fable the Journey. I tried to play Fable. Fable 1 was alright. I didn't play Fable 2. I really tried to play Fable 3, and by that point it just really got tired. So what did they do with Fable? They took it, they made it better with Kinect, and they made it an on-rails Kinect shooter. Not only that, but they made it an on-rails Kinect shooter that manages somehow in some way to have shittier graphics than House of the Dead 2 on the Sega Dreamcast did. And that came out in 1999. I don't know how they did it, but it looks fucking terrible. Terrible. I looked at this and I'm like, you expect me to get excited about this? And people are actually getting excited about it. Like, what the fuck? I don't get it. Will I play it? Probably not. Oh, I wrote here, the head of the games division comes out. I forget what his fucking name is, because I was pretty much brain dead by this point. And he says this guy has the balls to come out and say that this is Xbox's biggest year of games. What games? What, 3 sequels and fucking apps you're gonna put on the 360 that I can more or less not even dream about giving a shit about? And I'll get to that in a minute. Then he announces a Gears of War prequel called Judgment. Big fucking surprise. Gears of War sold like hotcakes, and they ended the trilogy, so the only way to drain more money out of the franchise is to make a prequel. Forza Motorsport spin-off called Horizons is announced. All they really showed in the conference, they went in during the G4 post-conference interviews and such. They went into more detail about it, but all they really showed about Forza Horizons is a 30-second CGI trailer again that shows cars and dubstep music and more cars. That's basically it. Moving on. Oh, the head of marketing comes out, this fucking asshole named Youssef, and he goes on. I don't know if I can do this. I'm having like flashbacks back to this fucking conference, like some kind of post-traumatic stress disorder or something. Oh my god. Goes on for 30 minutes about such blockbuster announcements like Internet Explorer on the Xbox. Are you fucking kidding me? That's your big announcement? Internet Explorer on the Xbox. What is this, 1995? Are you putting Windows 95 on the fucking Xbox too? Is that your revolutionary fucking presentation? Is that it? Internet Explorer. Not only that, but we get the absolute honor and privilege of having Bing on our Xbox now in 14 different languages, which is pretty cool. You know, for people out there who speak different languages that want to play Xbox, that's a good feature, but it's not a big deal. As I said yesterday, that's something you put in as a feature in patch notes. Don't make it a big presentation at a games conference. You talk about fucking games. Fuck. Oh, and we're getting apps for Nickelodeon, Paramount, Telemundo, or whatever the Mexican channel is, or the Spanish channel, excuse me, is on there. ESPN, HBO, NHL, and the NBA. And the funny thing about all those is, they'd be pretty cool, honestly, if you didn't have a cable subscription, which is probably the only reason why I'd see you'd actually use them. But you need a cable subscription to use these channels on your Xbox. So you need a cable subscription to watch these apps on your Xbox, but you already have the channels on your cable. Why is this exciting again? It gets worse. Oh, I pointed out at this point that the crowd seems bored out of my mind. I'm sitting here in shock and boredom I've never even known before watching this. Oh, he launches Xbox Music. I just... Xbox music. Can you tell me one goddamn person that's been living under a rock for the last 10 years and doesn't have an iPad, and he's going to log onto his Xbox and buy MP3s on it and use it as a fucking jukebox? Oh, yeah, that's perfect. And this is the worst part for me personally. He ties up this whole fucking presentation about the Nike Fitness app on the Xbox, and I literally wrote down here, and the dumbest thing I've ever seen in E3 yet, they bring a Nike spokesperson on stage to talk about shoes and athletes for 5 minutes at a games convention. You know, because when you think about the LA Convention Center and going to E3 and seeing some new exciting games, you want some fucking asshole from Nike to come on stage at a Microsoft conference when you want to hear more about Xbox games and talk about shoes and fitness. Because people there can totally relate to that. I'm all for good-looking shoes. I personally don't wear Nikes. They don't fit with my feet well, but I care about fitness. But you know where I go for fitness? I go up the hill to work out every day. At the gym. You know, where people really go to get a workout. The fitness games are fun, I guess, if you... for people that are busy and don't have a lot of time, but don't make such a big deal out of it at a games conference. Again, how many fucking times do I have to repeat myself with this? Then he, you know, then it all culminates to Kinect training. Nike Kinect training we're going to get. And the crowd goes mild. The head of Xbox Live comes out and announces a tablet phone app called Smart Glass. And my first instinct was with Smart Glass is, oh, this is what they're doing to battle the Wii U remote. It's cool, I guess. You don't have to buy an extra accessory if you already have a tablet or a phone. But even if you had like an iPhone, that's still like a small screen to use. Oh, excuse me, as a companion device when you're playing a game. And I'm not going to stop in the middle of Halo or Gears of War or whatever and look at my phone to, you know, read about stats or something. I guess if it had like a map in it or something, it'd be a little helpful, but shooters are so linear anyway, why'd you need a fucking map? Maybe with Wolfenstein 3D back in 1992 you needed a map, but not now. Everything's just a thin corridor, pretty much, or a wide open space that leads to another hallway. So, we'll see. It looks promising, but I don't know. Oh, Tomb Raider is being rebooted for the 4th or 5th time, and it looks alright. It just looks like they dumped Lara Croft in a spin-off Uncharted game and they just went with it. That's honestly what it looks like. It looks okay, but it's not Tomb Raider. Nothing in that trailer, in any of the trailers they showed for Tomb Raider, reminds me of the classic series made by Eidos back in the 90s. Nothing in that game makes me reminisce about Tomb Raider 2 or anything. It looks good. I'll try it out, but I'm not that excited about it. Why does Tomb Raider keep having to be rebooted? What's the big deal? Can't they just pick a storyline and fucking stick to it? Seriously, this series has literally been rebooted at least 3 times now. Maybe 4. Another game called Ascend the Gods, I think it was called. All they showed was a quick trailer about these giants that are walking around in a field, and I guess they're going to fight. I don't know if it's going to be a strategy game, a fighting game, a fucking sex simulator. I don't know what the fuck it's going to be. We'll see. 2 more shorts were shown for games that show a name and nothing else. No one cares. This is when Loco Cycle was announced by Twisted Pixel, which I really enjoyed the Gunstringer way more than I thought I would for the Xbox 360. Twisted Pixel makes some good stuff, especially the spin-off, the Chronicles of the Wavy Tube Man Chronicles, where it was kind of like an old-fashioned light gun game, like Mad Dog McCree or something similar to that. That was fun. So at least they have a good development team with a sense of humor, so we'll see what happens with that. But all they literally showed was a motorcycle for 10 seconds and Loco Cycle, and that was it. Then they went on to this other Kinect game that's called Matter. People are making comparisons to Marble Madness. Again, it's a ball rolling around, avoiding these things, and that's it. Like, they don't even explain this shit at all. They just show it. Like, oh, we went on for fucking 45 minutes about Internet Explorer and Bing, so we might as well show some games, and they just fucking throw some fucking trailers on the screen. Like, give me a fucking break. Let's see. Oh, then they showed Resident Evil 6, which looks nothing like Resident Evil 5, which looked absolutely nothing like Resident Evil 4. And they bring Leon and Chris back into this one. And honestly, with Resident Evil, it was awesome in the PlayStation days. It was alright in the Dreamcast days when I played Code Veronica. That was the first game I beat on my Dreamcast. Then Resident Evil 4 came out, and they talked about how Resident Evil 4 revolutionized the series and stuff. I just really don't care about Resident Evil anymore. That series jumped the shark like 10 years ago. Sorry. I just... It's cool. It's not offending me in any way. I don't care for it. I mean, it's hard to get excited about Resident Evil anymore when it's been done so many times. I mean, could anyone imagine back in the PlayStation 1 days, would you see a Resident Evil 6 in 10 years? I'd probably laugh in your face. But there's been spin-offs, there's been light gun games, there's been Game Boy games, there's been... It's just getting tired. Yeah, I read a good saying on a site yesterday where it said something, and I'm paraphrasing here, it said something like, there's only 2 times when you need to change what you're doing in gaming or with a game series. One when it doesn't work at all, and one when it works too much. You know, Call of Duty, Resident Evil, we've had enough. It's time for something new. Oh, and then I'll skip ahead a little bit here. They went into more detail about it in the post-interviews with Resident Evil 6. And G4 actually got complaints about, I guess, some of their watchers, or their viewers, I should say, where they were worried that every character wasn't going to be in Resident Evil 6, and the developer basically said, oh, no, there's going to be every character in it. We're going to have Sherry Birkins coming back from Resident Evil 6, and she's an agent now, and I think, what was his name, Alex? I don't have his name. But Wesker's son's supposed to fit into it somehow. The son of Albert Wesker from the first games. You know, that's not all the characters. Where's Rebecca Chambers? Where's Barry Burton? Where are those guys? Where's Jill Valentine? Where's everyone else? Where's that Carlos guy from Resident Evil 3? Like, I don't know. Where's Hunk and Tofu? Oh, and then this chick from the Xbox Live team comes out named Alex, which honestly, Alex was probably the most visually appealing thing I've seen at this conference. And she came out to debut a game that was called Racketeer for the Xbox, for the Kinect. Again, with the Kinect. And it's basically Angry Birds. It's 3D Angry Birds, except with, instead of birds and houses and pigs, you're shooting cannonballs into a castle, and you get points for it. Like, the more you demolish the castle with the cannonballs. It's Angry Birds. Innovation unveiled. Right, guys? Oh, and then the best part of the conference comes out after this shit happens, where Matt and Trey, the creators of South Park, come out and they announce the Stick of Truth for South Park: The Stick of Truth, excuse me. That it looks like a really cool South Park game that actually just throws you in the middle of an episode, and you got to join the 4 boys and be like the 5th kid in the neighborhood, kind of like join them and help them go on this adventure and such. And they come out and they completely made fun of pretty much the entire conference. Something akin to, I'm going to butcher it here, but they said something like, how would you like to play a game on your phone while it's connected to your tablet device that's connected to your stove while sitting in the refrigerator? And everyone laughed at that. That was by far the best part of the conference, when they basically made fun of the very stage they were on, but whatever. The game looks cool, but it didn't last very long. That looks pretty good. The South Park game was something I would play. Then that all goes to hell, and the Harmonix logo flashes on the screen, so you know Dance Central 3 is coming. And then Usher talks about it, and then Usher comes out, and, well, basically he goes at the end of the interview, he goes, well, instead of you playing my dance moves, I'll just show you right now. And then he comes out, and he proceeds to dance with his crew for about 5 minutes, hardly showing any of the game. I think like the last 60 seconds of his little dance show, that they were showing it, some of the game on the screen. Like, I don't even know if it was just Dance Central 3, excuse me. But it looked just the same as the other ones, so that's it. And the very last thing, the big closing bombshell, after the guy made an absolutely horrible ushering in pun joke. Then they closed it out with the biggest surprise ever. It made it seem like, you know, he's like, well, we started this conference with a bang, so we're going to end it with a bang. So here it is, your big surprise, Black Ops 2. And they showed Black Ops 2. Basically the same footage we've been seeing in commercials for the last month. And that was it. That was their whole conference. Sequels we already know about. Stupid Kinect games we could more or less give a shit about. And pretty much everything you can do with your Xbox that has nothing to do with gaming at all. And that was the heart of their conference. And I have my result here for that conference, but you pretty much know what it already is. I kind of said it before. Games. We want games. I don't want Internet Explorer or Bing on my Xbox. It's nice to have, but I don't give a shit. I want to play games. Who honestly goes to Best Buy or Walmart or Amazon.com or whatever, goes into a fucking store and buys a games console and goes home, and the main reason they buy it is to watch YouTube videos on it? Who does that? You don't have a fucking computer to watch YouTube? You don't have a computer with Internet Explorer on it? I mean, yeah, if you had an Apple computer, which is fine, that doesn't have Internet Explorer on it, but still, you can still use Safari, you can still access the internet. You're not missing anything by using Safari instead of Internet Explorer. Why is that such a big deal? My point is no one's going to go to a store and buy a console to do everything other than games on it. I buy game consoles to play games. That's it. Everything else is just kind of icing on the cake that I might use or might not use. But I buy it for games. I want games, Microsoft. Games. You remember those, right? The discs we put into our system, and we grab our controller and we actually interact with things that are going on the screen, where it's a video game. Remember those? Remember? Video games? Work on that. I mean, this generation, I picked an Xbox 360. Not because I hate PlayStation, not because I hate Nintendo, but because I personally prefer to play on an Xbox 360. And even I can honestly say, without even flinching, that this was the worst conference of the show. Period. It was a fucking train wreck.